started the discussions around small and medium enterprises and how they are coping with the COVID-19 pandemic. What are businesses doing? How are they surviving? What is the plan? And how can they reinvent themselves? Yesterday, we had talking with us Oti Perez and Jeku, and they tried to guide us. Today, we're talking with those who are in the field doing it. Let me introduce my first guest, Oti Kalu. Oti is an entrepreneur. He deals in the fashion space. He has refused to make any item for me. Oti insists that he sells for only men. And he and I are going to deal with that matter because it's gender discrimination and I'm not taking it. Oti sells for only men. I repeat it so that all of us can fight him together. Girls, who's with me? Okay. But Oti's been doing something that has enabled his business ride the storm. What is it he's been doing? We'd like to share with some of his lessons. We also like him to show us and navigate us through the kind of challenges small businesses face. We're also going to be joined shortly by another entrepreneur. And when she comes on board, I'll introduce her. But let me start with Oti. Oti, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, man.
You know
Thank
you're
you for
owing me
having
an outfit. No. You have to. I'm telling you, you have to break the rules. But you're into fashion business, and everyone wonders who is making clothes with COVID-19.
Yeah.
All of us are at home, and we're doing nothing. So shorts and t-shirts is fine. How is your
Yeah.
business coping with the challenges of COVID-19?
Thank you. The reality of every entrepreneur in this very trying time differs. If I would speak for myself as an entrepreneur and a business, it would shock you to realize that we still have clients who are still placing orders.
Mm.
And so, yeah, true. Probably not at the rate we would ordinarily have before now, but we still have clients who are placing orders. Now, it also depends on who our target market was pre-COVID-19, and that has really helped us. We have cases where clients would call you. These are people who probably never had time to stay back at home to identify or sort out certain things, and they call you up and want to know if you're available to render service to them, that they just noticed one fabric or the other that they would wish to, have made for them, hoping that when this whole pandemic is over, they will have to use it and not have to stress you when the pandemic is over and there's pressure. So we have clients like that, and a few of them have requested for our services. And we actually shut down partially as a business, but
Yes.
we still have a section of our production open to, attend to some of these requests. So in that aspect, we are pretty much still in business. And then, as it is with our industry, most time we have backlogs. So this has also been a good opportunity for us to address some of the backlogs we have. So we have people back at the production who are, treating some of these backlogs. So when businesses resume, we won't have to start, revisiting some of the jobs we didn't treat,
Yeah.
all along. So we now have to focus on new orders. So that has been one of the benefits of this period for us. And like I said, the reality differs. For us, we're still in business, probably not doing as much as we were doing before this, but we're still benefiting in one way or the other.
Okay, so you're still able to stay in business. And I'm going to ask you, what are the tricks? What tricks, and I use the word tricks, of course, advisedly. You did say something
Yeah.
about the fact that you had niche clients. You said
Yeah.
something about the fact that there are people who were in business with you before, so they were your
Yeah.
clients before now, and they're
Yeah.
coming back to say, look, do this and do that. So
Yeah.
basically, I hear you tell me that you had a bank. You're talking relationships,
Yes.
and that as a business, your staying power has been the relationships you've built. As a small
Yes.
business, how do I build those kinds of sustainable networks and relationships that enable me stay in business in times of in down times like this?
Okay. I noticed the trend in this period has mostly been how can people survive the pandemic? What will be the effect of the pandemic when it's all over? But I I tend to have a different approach because
Mm,
I tell people we shouldn't also ignore what our business model, our activities, our priorities were before COVID-19.
mm,
First thing, um, if you listen to me, even in my personal conversations with you, I'm one entrepreneur that is very passionate about infrastructure.
mm,
I stress on it a lot.
mm,
Clients want to be sure that they can trust you with
mhm,
their request and their service and will not get messed up in the end.
mm,
So prior to this time, as a business, we invested a lot into infrastructure.
mm,
We invested a lot into other facets of our business.
mhm,
Personally, as an individual, I I would say I have an exceptional heart of service.
mm,
So we always try to see how we can transition our customers from just being a client to having a personal relationship with you. So that way we are able to stay in touch with you and see how we can be of help to you. I was
mm,
discussing with a friend and I told him that yes, it's a trying time and it feels like people are out of business, but that there's one thing that can make the difference for you.
mhm,
Imagine a simple question as you reaching out to a customer and ask the person, how are you doing in this time? How may I be of help to you? It's a very simple question.
mhm.
How can I be of help to you?
Yeah.
If you put a call across to 10 persons, chances are you would find two or three who would tell you, okay, um,
Oti?
can you help me do this? And
Yeah.
that request will only, yes, ma'am. Sorry,
Yeah.
and in doing that, number one, you must have been a business that have a very excellent database of your customers for you
Yeah.
to even know who to reach out to. And then in asking this very simple question, first of all, getting to know how they're faring in this time, and then getting to ask them how you can be of help to them. It's a very simple question but can go a long way.
Yeah.
Now, if you make that call out of 10, maybe you have two or three make a request of you,
Mhm.
it will still fall back on the fact that you have what it takes to meet their demand.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Mhm.
It goes back to, so I always like a situation where my conversation covers pre-COVID, you know,
Right
current
now.
situation right now, and then post-COVID, because whatever you're going through now is a consequence of your action before COVID. Do you get
Wow.
it? We
Mhm.
cannot disregard that. We cannot disregard that. Yes, we know certain businesses are badly hit, um, and it's not like they didn't do anything before now. But
Yeah.
um, I know we're going to. You have a lot of other questions to ask, and there are other
Mhm.
things I'd like to say. But
Mhm.
even if your business at this time or in this time does not get the required attention, or it feels
Mhm.
like you don't have what it takes, to stay relevant, the
Mhm.
question is, as regards your finances, as regards your savings, did you have
Mhm.
savings? Now, if you did have savings, there's a solution for you.
Okay.
Um, yeah, let me just get to it. Some businesses are not doing well in this time, but some business it's been a very amazing period for them. Let's look at it at the global level. Um, um, Video conferencing has become one simple platform that people are leveraging on. We're currently on Be Live, there's Zoom. A lot of organizations are leveraging on this video conferencing. And
Mhm.
you would agree with me that these businesses are doing fantastic. Take, for instance, Zoom.
Sure.
They are doing very well. This is
Yeah.
amidst pandemic, right?
Yes.
You go to, for instance, businesses like businesses, for instance, like Amazon,
Mhm.
businesses like Jumia and the rest of them. They are
Yeah.
doing amazing and fantastically well. Jeff Bezos rose back to becoming the number one richest man in the
Wow.
face of pandemic,
And
you
then.
know. So yeah, all that is happening. If you go online, you see Jumia is advertising every now and then and so on. Now let's even go back to maybe businesses on ground that are not really online. I go to Next to shop and restock on things every day. They are also restocking because the demand is very high. Do you get? So there are
Mhm.
businesses that are doing well. We come down to businesses like logistics businesses. They are doing fantastically well. I have a friend who runs a logistics business here in Port Harcourt, CS Logistics. He told me that the demand on them is overwhelming. This is still the same period where other businesses aren't doing very well. Do you get? I have a
Mhm.
friend who is into agriculture.
Mhm.
He's the owner of Whale Farms, and he told me, Oti, the orders are overwhelming. He's into chicken, fish, and the rest of them. So as much as certain businesses are not doing well in this period or they are badly hit, there are some that are actually um,
Maxing
having
out.
yeah, exactly. So now back to the entrepreneurs that probably their businesses don't seem to be relevant or needed, or services are not really needed in this time. Now if you did have savings, it's an opportunity for you to call out to the businesses that are doing well and ask them how you can invest. Ask them how you can invest, because definitely they should be open to investment. Remember, they said most of them told me the demand is high at this time, and they would want to scale up. They want to build capacity to meet the demand,
Mhm.
and that opportunity can only be tapped into by those entrepreneurs pre-COVID who had savings beyond just having infrastructure. So
Wow.
while we look at the current effect of COVID, let's also ask ourselves as entrepreneurs, what did we do before COVID? Now, if we did not do anything, how can we maximize this opportunity? How can we create ourselves? If that is still not obtainable, how can we go back and reevaluate and assess, our model, our actions before
Mhm.
COVID, so that when we're out of this, we would learn from our mistakes and make sure that we have avert them in case of future pandemic or occurrences like this.
So I'm hearing you, and I'm hearing some very key things that how
Yes.
you survive at this time depends
Yeah.
on behavior that happened before now. That's a
Exactly. We
critical
cannot
thing.
we cannot disregard that. We need to audit it. It is something every entrepreneur must audit. You need to ask
So
yourself,
we're
what
learning
did I
as small businesses, we better be careful how we behave. Okay, so that's
yeah,
one. The other thing
yeah,
I'm hearing you talk about is the need to put something aside for the rainy day. The critical
yes,
need to always put something aside for the rainy day.
yeah,
And that's where
yes,
I'm going to be. You're saying that that's okay for certain businesses. But here am I,
yeah,
my
yeah,
akara money. Any day I don't go out, I cannot earn a living. I have to
yeah,
find akara every day. The
yeah,
day I don't fry, that's it. And
mm,
really, it's not every akara seller that lives in fast moving area. So
yeah,
with COVID and closures, I can't bring out my pan and oil and fry. I can't bring
yeah,
out my pole and fish and roast. Don't
yeah,
tell me get to your client online. I can't afford, I don't have those capabilities or
yeah,
capacities. What
yeah,
is in it for me? And I agree with you. Many of those watching us on Facebook Live probably do not fall into that category of people, but they
yeah,
certainly fall into the category of people who may be makeup artists.
yeah,
Yeah, who is inviting
yeah,
who to do their makeup today? Who may be
yeah,
gele? I do makeup, I tie gele, I do nails. Okay, these are things that were earning me revenue. So if
yeah.
that's my kind of business, what do I do in terms of reinventing myself? What can I possibly do? What are you doing?
Okay. That's a very good question, Mark. But sadly, we are all not at the same level, and we all didn't start off business having the right information,
Mhm.
um, the right opportunities, and the rest of them. So, first thing is, as a business, you must already have a vision for the business, and that
Mhm.
would be to scale your business from one level to the other, and so on. But perhaps that wasn't the case with yours. This is another opportunity for businesses to find a way to synergize and collaborate and see how they can get themselves out of this mess. So
Mhm.
now I take for instance the business you talked about. I bake akara and so on. So this is what I would advise in such a case. Maybe yours isn't akara, whatever business you do. You look out for those who have good knowledge of technology and maybe e-commerce as it would be, and find out how you can leverage on their platform and then promote your business. There's nothing wrong with you still baking your akara inside your kitchen, but leveraging on this person's platform to reach out to those who have need for this in their private homes, leveraging on the logistics guys to help you move these your products from one place, and get it delivered. Hi, IB, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to
Good
have you.
afternoon.
You know,
Thank
so
you very much.
so yeah. So in this very time, I'll call out to businesses to find a way to deal with their limitations, and that would be leveraging on the areas of your weakness. Leveraging on businesses that have the strengths you don't have, and then see how you can still stay relevant in business. So you have the business, you don't have the wherewithal to reach out to other people. Leverage on those who have platforms or technology to do that. Leverage on those who have the logistics platforms to do that. So there are lots of ways to get out of this, if you ask me.
Okay, so friends, we've just been joined by Idea Macri. And I say that Ibinabo is an incurable serial entrepreneur. That's who she is. She's doing everything and anything. She does hair, she's a farmer, she sells
Oh, you have to
art,
be
she writes, she does poetry. Okay, I just need to know what space you are not playing. Ibinabo Macri is doing something interesting. She started what she calls the farmers market, and she's able to connect need with demand. I'd like to have your take on this. We're talking about how small businesses are doing, and some people are just not surviving. But you've started something that I must say is providing a lot of support. And so, basically, my question is, what do you think about COVID-19 and how micro businesses can stay afloat? Because a lot of the people playing in the space in which you're playing are micro businesses. How can they survive this time? And what are you doing?
Hello, Auntie Beam. I'm so happy to be here on the program today. My name is Ibinaba Amakri, and I run the Creative Hub amongst and amidst a lot of other things I do. Small businesses. Due to the pandemic,
Hmm. Inabo's connection, I think. Okay, we're going to let her come back on once her pandemic is I think not. I think her connection is giving a bit of a problem. I'm sure she will join us shortly. But Oti, so
Yes, ma'am.
I agree with you. Businesses are at several levels. Everybody is at a different stage.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's good. But I keep asking this question of you right now. What are you
yeah.
doing with this time? This period when business is not as wide as it used to be, clients are not as many as they used to be. What are you doing with this time? How are you spending this time for personal growth and for business growth? What are the things you are doing?
Okay. I know yesterday Perez mentioned how he had to renegotiate with his employees on payment and so on. And I told you yesterday that that's what we did as well. We had to renegotiate as regards payment because the revenue isn't as high as it used to be. So, but welfare packages are guaranteed. But I also mentioned yesterday that we're doing more of training for our employees
Mhm.
because um, we know that, like I said, our realities differ. I know that well before the COVID, that there were certain things as a business I was not very impressed with. But we didn't have that break that we could assemble as a team and look into them critically and address them. Now that's what we're doing as an organization, trying to make sure that we visit those areas where we had lapses, we had loopholes, and then trying to see how we can address them so that as soon as we're back into business, there would there would be an upgrade. Customers will see a clear difference between what our service was before the COVID-19 pandemic and what it is now. So for us as a business, we're doing more, retraining of our employees in this period.
Okay, now one business that is suffering is the media and advertising, end of the spectrum of things. Because when businesses want to cut the budget, they start with promotions. And
Yeah,
John Kessel Sherome has a comment, and he says advertising is the lifeblood of business. As a
yeah,
business, what are you doing
yeah.
at this time? Are you really bothering with marketing communications, with advertising of any kind? Or you're just enjoying yourself and saying, you know what, let's ride out this tiger?
I am not doing anything advertising at the moment. Let me be very honest with you. I am not. I am not. And it all depends on our priority as a company. Ma, prior to this time, people ask me this question a lot. What do you do about advertising? You don't advertise this, you don't advertise that. It's a sector that is doing fantastically well. They are helping a lot of brands, become visible and so on. Maybe we're not there yet as a business where we've not come to that point where we feel we should invest a lot into
Oh, or you're
advertising.
making so much money you don't need the advertisers.
No, no, it's not. We're focusing more on the product itself and the one-on-one relationship with the customers. So that could be another form of advertising for us, where we try to ensure that
Where
given the opportunity
where your
at
clients
every
do word of
instance,
mouth.
yeah, yeah. So you do the word of mouth marketing and advertising for us. Yeah, the other aspect, no doubt, we can, but it's not
So you want
much
to
of
put
our
people like us
priority.
in communication out of business. Oti, that's your plan.
No, no, I don't. I
That's your
don't. I used to think it weird until I came across a fellow fashion entrepreneur, someone I admire as well, and I realized that their business model does not capture advertising. I'm sorry for those that are into
oh
advertising.
my
Seriously,
gosh.
it blew my mind. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but it blew my mind. And that's the person of Amancio Ortega, the owner of Zara. Zara currently is Amancio is currently the sixth or the seventh richest man in the whole world. And Amancio, from his background played a major role in this his decision. You would realize that these people do not have any advertising budget. They don't advertise on billboards, TV, whatever. But one thing they do is that they strategically position themselves or their shops in malls alongside other. They leverage on the visibility of other brands to sell. But guess what? They their revenue is super high.
Are
It's
you listening
fantastic.
to this gentleman?
No,
Kester and Jimmy, are you people like something? There's somebody who doesn't want us to make any money.
no, no,
And
no, no. I'm sorry. No. What I'm saying is, at every point, every business must identify the areas they want to invest. Probably as we progress as a business, we would get to a point where we'll have to set aside budget for advertising. Maybe at that point we would realize, okay, we have created a product, it has gotten to a stage where we need this other arm to drive it for us and so on.
okay.
So, but right now, that's not our reality.
So Ibidabo, you were before unfortunately you went off. You were talking to us about what you're doing. Like I said, Ibidabo Amakri is connecting needs with supply. So for those very micro businesses, and you're working with a lot of them, what is COVID-19 looking like in terms of the tapestry? And for you as a business person, tell us about the farmers market and how you came upon this brilliant idea and what you're doing right now.
Okay, sorry about me going off. Calls kept interrupting and throwing me out, but now I've been able to put my phone on airplane mode and connect to Wi-Fi, so I'll be here now. Okay, thank you, Auntie, for this, Auntie Beam, for this opportunity.
Mhm.
My name is Ibinabo Amakri, and I run the Creative Hub. And the Creative Hub hosts two communities: the Port Harcourt Creative Community, where we deal with creative people, and then the Farmers Community, where we deal with our agro entrepreneurs and farmers. So I'm able to speak about micro businesses from two angles because I understand how the SMEs and the micro businesses under my creative community have been affected by the pandemic, and also how the farmers have also been affected, but how we have been able to innovate. So I'll start with the farmers, my farm community. We're a community of 140 farmers, We've been together for a year right now. We started in March 2019, and then we deal in we have a very wide variety of agro products and farm produce because we leverage on what each member does, and then that helps us have variety. We used to hold a monthly Saturday farmers market, which was held every first Saturday of the month, where we all gathered and sold. But
Okay.
due to the pandemic, once we realized that gatherings were not allowed anymore and markets were being shut down, because the pandemic is really serious. The way the virus spreads is it's alarming, and so once gatherings were stopped, we innovated immediately. That's what we did, and decided to move our services online. And we've test run that for 3 weeks now, and we've validated our idea. It's a very successful. It's turned out to be a very successful business model. Our fears at first was that people won't pay for products they've not seen,
Yes.
because we know that when you go to the market, people like to examine. We want to see what we're getting to ensure it's fresh, to ensure it's the right quantities. But
Yeah.
we've been able to surmount all that. Our products are affordable, they are fresh, and we deliver straight to your doorstep, which helps people stay at home and stay safe and not have to go out in search of food. So we validated it, and we've seen that's an idea that everyone likes, and we're helping out in that way. So the farm community is 100% busy. We have done about 780 orders so far, and then with the innovation we put in place, we've been able to still continue. So that's for the farm community. But the Port Harcourt creative community on the other end, because there are no events allowed within this period, all the events we're supposed to be able to do for them, we have not been able to hold such events. So my advice for any business, because now we have seen everybody's focusing on food.
Yeah.
Everybody just wants to be able to eat and survive for now. So while the farmers are totally relevant and totally making money and totally solving problems right now, the Port Harcourt creative community for now is going quiet a bit because we're not allowed to do events anymore, and we can't gather. So my advice is innovate. That's the first thing. The first advice I'll give out to businesses. Think of what you do. Like, for example, I was talking to a caterer yesterday, and she reached out to me and told me she doesn't know what to do anymore because nobody is booking her to cater for events anymore. She caters for events, so she cooks in bulk when you have an event. And so my advice, I asked her, I said, do you have any product? Can you think of any product? Can you come up with any product? She was silent. I said, okay, for example, from the farm community, I'm getting a lot of requests about many people want ready to make ready-made stew. So they want to order stew in bowls. They're asking about stew in pouches. They're asking about puff puff. They're asking for things that can be easily packaged and sold. So I told her
You
to
didn't
start
tell me
thinking.
this one, Ivy. You should have told me. Eh? Please, please, please,
Yes,
please,
there's a
also.
huge demand for products right now. So anything that is easy to package, is transferable, and
Yeah,
can be sold online
yeah.
will go very fast because we have the delivery companies that are also fully in business because they're taking deliveries from one party to the other. So if
Wow.
we can think of a product, are you a dressmaker? Is there something? Many tailors and dressmakers have started making face masks. So they started sewing the face masks since people are not buying dresses right now. They're innovating to areas that people are demanding more this period. So that's my first advice. My second advice is to stay visible and
Okay.
stay relevant.
Stay
Yes, you have
visible
to,
and relevant.
yes, and relevant. Yes. So visibility and relevance means your online you shouldn't be quiet online. You shouldn't be quiet on social media.
Okay.
So do sponsored ads, do promos, do things that will engage your followers and your customers. Keep in touch with your customers. Ask them how are they doing. Check up on them,
Okay.
so that because there's the during COVID and then there's the post COVID. So,
Absolutely.
yes, yeah, we have to prepare for both. During COVID, how do I keep my business relevant? How do I, my other advice to businesses is, okay, this period, if you know that you're in the area that your business has gone a little bit quiet,
Yeah.
start looking at your business structure closely. This is a time you can, many entrepreneurs are, their businesses are not properly structured, their books are not in place, they don't know the difference between their
Mm,
businesses,
tell me.
business money and personal money. So
Okay.
this is the time you can also start looking closely at your business.
Building structure.
Look at your, yes, start structuring your business. Look at your books.
Mhm.
Put proper records down. It's a time to also innovate. It's a
Mhm.
time to also stay relevant on
Mhm.
social media by ensuring that your presence is still felt.
Mhm.
People still see you,
Mhm.
and then anything that can be sold online or is easily transferred online, you should get into that. So that is
Wow.
basically what it is for now.
Wow.
Until you ask me
Wow.
more questions, Ma.
I mean, this is wonderful, but I'm coming back to you because I have a few questions. Uche, I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
I've seen it on screen. Julia is saying to you, what kind of brand do you believe you're building? A high level luxury brand or a through the line quality brand? Get ready to respond to that. But let me take you up, Ivy. So I hear the things you're saying, and critically, what you've pointed out is number one, innovate. At this time, every business must innovate, regardless of what you do. Innovate. All of us have to think of new ways of doing business. The second thing you've said is that you must stay visible. And visibility in these days of physical distancing means have strong social media presence. What that means is that advertisers and communication experts can actually help deliver something they haven't thought about, which is growing businesses online
Online.
visibility. So that is
Yeah.
new business out there for us. Okay, so that's what we should do. And then the other thing you've said is this is a good time to start thinking structure because as
Yes.
SMEs, we must think about growth. And if we're thinking growth, this is a good time to think structure. Of course, there's something Otis says that ties to that, which is building the right infrastructure for your business. Because COVID-19 is showing us all of the leaking buckets in our businesses. You take up your business, you can see where all the gaps are. This is a time to plug the holes. This is a time to mend the leaking buckets. Or to use Don Kester's proverb, this is a time the fisherman mends his net. Okay, I hear you. But let me take you up on the matter of the creative economy. The person who makes hair and is on lockdown cannot move, all right? The person who is an MC cannot MC any event. The person who is a comedian and lives based on paycheck to paycheck. The person who does drama, who has to go on stage. I'm not talking Nollywood. I'm talking about the artists that have stage performances. The musician who lives from gig to gig. No parties are happening. The jockey who has to turn, and what's going to happen to him? Nobody is partying. Nightclubs are closed. And you just talked about the caterer, but there are even options of delivering food to people at home. But
Yes.
you have to have a list of those who might need it. Now that more women are at home, there is the joke that husbands will begin to figure out those of us who know how to cook and those who cannot. But you've just provided a solution that you can still. He doesn't need to be the wiser for it. You can still have somebody deliver the soup and stew through the back, and then you bring it in through the kitchen, put it in the pot, and it comes and sees you sweating over the fire. Good girl, take 5. Okay, so but what happens honestly to these persons?
Persons. Okay. I've been noticing what a couple of people have been doing in the creative community. They're doing online, like Angel the Laugh is
Mhm,
currently doing. He has many of them have opened YouTube platforms.
mhm,
They have opened platforms where they're
mhm,
trying to drive traffic
mhm,
to, because that's another way of earning income. If
mhm,
you're able to drive traffic to your YouTube channel,
mhm,
um, think there's some money, that there's some income you can make from
Yeah,
that.
a little bit.
So they're organizing online comedy shows
Mm-hmm.
and then online interviews, anything to push people online to watch their channels. So I've seen that in comedy, and that's what has been happening in comedy. So I know that there's a lull everywhere, but I think everyone has to generally think of ways they can stay relevant online. I've seen it in comedy, and it's a great idea. People are subscribing, people are watching, and then they're pushing it. But yes, what happens to the MC? What happens to the MC? What happens to everybody else you listed, the poets?
Mm-hmm.
Um, a poet I know, he wrote something on the COVID-19. He wrote something on the COVID-19. It was like a, a, a poetry with pictures. So
Mm-hmm.
he was narrating and talking about safety, talking about what to do, wash your hands. That was innovative, but how to make money out of it?
I, I,
There's still how
how
to
do we
make money out of
translate,
it.
how do we translate passion and creativity to
And
cash?
hmm,
To cash. We're looking at cash. Now, there's something Julia has just said, and if you look at your screen, you probably see it. And she says that a lot of creative communities are beginning to transition. Okay, they're transitioning online with concerts, with performances. So now, how can we leverage on technology to keep our creative community in Port Harcourt engaged? And this is really your forte because you work with this
yes,
group
it's
of
in.
persons. So how
Yes,
are
I
you
do.
able to reach this core of artists that you've been working with? And how can we leverage on technology and help them stay in business and put some money in their hands, really?
Put some money in their hands, really. I think it's for the community to come together now and to put our thinking caps on. If we can take all the shows and all the events online, yes, there has to be a way. If we take all the shows and all the events online and then get people to subscribe or people to pay to be able to view, that is a way. And then we will come together. We're going to actually come together and think something through where all the creative people, we can put up something online with the use of technology and we can make some money from it. So that is an area I'm going to really look into. Right now, focus more on my farm community. That's been taking all my time. But we'll look into the creative community and find ways of, when I come back, I'll be able to give you a lot of ways I will be able to think about so that they can make some money.
Great,
Yes.
great. Oti,
Yes.
let me ask you this. You're sitting and you're doing your business. And
Yes.
I find that all of us are doing what we're doing in our various silos. But have we
Yeah.
considered coming together, the power of a unified voice? The power of a unified voice. Can we, do we think, and each of you in your various spheres, in your various sectors, getting together with others in the same sector and trying to put some pressure on government to, with a unified voice, to speak about providing the kind of support that small businesses need at this critical time? Is that something you're even thinking about? I mean, you have this, you have a whole group, a community. Oti, you're more of a lone ranger, but there are others in your business. So how can we take the power of more than one to pull this? And then Uche, Julia is still waiting for your answer to her question. What kind
So
of
her
brand
question.
do you believe you're building? A global brand, a highly visible brand, a high level luxury brand, or through the line quality brand?
Um, I would say a luxury brand. However, it's because of how we started and the way we're operating at the moment. It's something that would have to transition from one level to the other, having to put in all the right plugins to achieve that. But the goal is to build a high-end luxury brand. We're not there yet, though.
Mhm.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm here. We're listening to you. Yeah, you're not there yet. So the idea is a high-end luxury brand. But then
Yes,
I
yes,
ask
it
a
is.
question: the power of a
Yeah.
unified voice. Isn't there something government can do?
There's so much government can do, but the question is, are they even seeing the opportunities that this very pandemic has brought to us?
Have
I
we
doubt.
shown it to them? As small business,
Okay,
have they heard our voice? That's the point. Are
I
they
I
doing
don't
it?
I don't I don't think they have. I don't think they have. The effect of this very pandemic is going to enable us discover a lot of things, like I've said, we haven't been paying attention to. And
Mm,
thanks for bringing this up. Perhaps it would be a good time for us to convene and see how we can, call the government's attention to the opportunities that are available in this time. Take for instance, the French government. One thing they did was to approach Bernard Arnault, who is the CEO of Louis Vuitton, and what
mm,
they did was to convert their factories to places where they make face masks and all the PPEs. I even understand they are making as much as hand sanitizers there.
mm,
So it's one thing to um, come together as a force and call the government's attention to it. It's another thing for the government to understand that there's an amazing opportunity for them to leverage on this very pandemic and also generate, or grow the economy. Even not just growing the economy, see how they can reduce the effect of this pandemic on the masses. Take for instance, yesterday we were discussing, and I know Perez mentioned about a business in Lagos that had, diversified into producing face masks.
yeah.
But the thing is, how many people will be willing to pay for this face mask? So it becomes a lot easier where the government have to take up that initiative, and then you just do the production and you do the distribution. And you realize that a lot of people will benefit from the people who would be the manpower, the people who will manage the supply chain, the distribution, and so on. A lot of people will benefit from it. So yes, we would have to come together and see how we can draw the government's attention to the opportunities that are there, and then hoping that they too, without politicizing it, you know, see how they can invest, in this very time to not just, like I said, generate revenue, but also to reduce the effect on the masses. I noticed the Cross River State government is doing the same, whereby they're going into the production of the nose mask and so on. But they could do this because prior to this time, I know Ayade had built a cloth
Garment
garment
factory.
factory. Yes, so it was a good time for them to use up that factory to make this production. But I don't think we have any of such initiative or investment in River State. So maybe this is time for us to do that. PPEs are there. They could produce PPEs. They could, beyond just the face mask, and also even supply to other states that do not have. So I think it's a wonderful idea. I would see how I can get to convene a few of my colleagues, and then we can drive that.
So I hear some things coming out of this. I'm even learning. And part of what I hear us saying is the issue of we need to get together. I hear you, Julia. And that's what we probably need to be doing as small businesses, all of us, because all of us are impacted one way or the other. Are we going to try and leverage using the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria? Are we going to leverage using the Chamber of Commerce? Are we going to create another group of SMEs who are thinking through the challenges of COVID-19 and trying to say, these are solutions, and we need you to help ensure that businesses, well, we certainly need to create pressure groups that are able to ensure and guarantee the sustainability of our small businesses.
Also to say this,
Yes.
a lot of us that pride ourselves as entrepreneurs, we do not really understand what the principles of entrepreneurship are. We do
Mm,
not. It would amaze you. The mindset, the mentality is it's something we need to also look into. A
mm,
lot of reformation, and I thank God IB is here. I'm sure her platform can look into that, because coming to approach the government on issues like this, you'd realize that some people would come just to see how they can enrich themselves and so on. So we need to raise visionary entrepreneurs,
mm,
people who are solution minded, people who want to think beyond now, beyond the now.
mm,
So it's another aspect we have to look into. So we don't come together and rather than achieve the aim or the goal, we just mess everything up. Next time if we approach the government, they'll just take us as some unserious folks or entrepreneurs.
Okay, so here I see work. Julia Jack's Consulting, there's work for you right here. Because I'm hearing them saying to us, yes, Julia Jack's Consulting, did you hear that? You need to begin to teach entrepreneurs how to be entrepreneurs. Because clearly there's a lot of gap. One of the things that Oti kept talking about was the issue of saving a portion of whatever it is you earn, ensuring that you don't eat away your capital. That's something every entrepreneur needs to learn. Something that Kester spoke about when I reached him was he said to me, you know what? A big problem people have in entrepreneurship is the fact that they don't have relationships. And Otis talked about it today. As a small business, what is going to sustain you now are the relationships you built yesterday. And IB talked about that because she says to us, the farmers market you see today didn't start today. It's 1 year old and counting. So IB leveraged on existing businesses for us to have a farmers market. So, I was thinking, is this something that happened during COVID? No. No, nobody is making great money from great ideas that happen today. That's what I'm hearing everybody saying. Investments that happen, and I can share my own story. At the level of our group of schools, today we're able to move smoothly, seamlessly to online teaching. And that was because we made an investment in an enterprise software that enabled us already to transit our classes to online. So it was easy. All we did was call the guys, our IT support guy, and say, listen, we want to be able to teach our children in real time. And so it's not just a question of learning. We're not just learning Google Classroom. We want to be able to interface. Can you please bring in all of the interfaces and let our kids go? And phew, it went seamless. So investments before now are key. Now, so we've got to ask ourselves, do we want to be entrepreneurs? And if we want to be entrepreneurs, we've got to do the work. Like Julia, I would say, do the time, So let's do all of that. It's good to have spoken to both of you. But let me ask you, and these are, what are the nuggets of wisdom you have for us? So I'm in this place. I haven't done any of the things you asked me to do. And I'm in this space now, and I need to survive. I don't know what to do. Abby has said I need to go and sit down, put on my thinking cap, be innovative, come up with ideas. Okay, but all of us are not, Abby, all of us are not you. Your mind is always busy. You're perpetually thinking. Between now and the end of this program, you give me 5 new ideas of business. So please, you can't be you. Ivy comes up with an idea per second. Within 60 seconds, Ivy has 60 new ideas. How can you even begin to ask me to be like you? So nuggets of wisdom. Oti, you're a calm, you are a still water, you run deep. That has been your style. So you had all your roots properly planted. You knew what you were doing. If this pandemic lasts for 1 year, you probably would be able to swim through it, and then I'll be here pulling out all of my hair. So you need to, you guys need to help us here. Help us. Nuggets of wisdom. All right? Who's giving the first shot?
Ivy, I want to listen to you.
Okay, I think the first, okay, so at AIBEE, I'm guessing people reach out to me and say, IB, I hear that you have a very tight and strong network, and your network trusts your judgment, and your network is buying from you during this period. Can you help us sell? So I'm actually getting, I was like, wow, that's actually a business idea. And I've actually posted a couple of other things that are not farm related, and people are actually buying. So maybe an advice I can give is maybe leverage on an influencer on somebody you know already has, put this kind of things in place.
Okay.
You can leverage on them to help you out. If you know you really need this help, because there's some people that have strong networks, very strong networks.
Okay, now
And
am I not?
yeah,
Now I know. I'm coming to you and Oti. I know your networks. I'm tapping in right there.
yes. So leverage on strong networks to help you out. Do something that is mutually beneficial for both of you to
Absolutely.
help you out. So you can leverage on that. So that's my first. Oti, you go next, and then I'll go again.
So this is doing something, and I just wanted to go and Syria calls it cooperation, collaboration among companies.
Yes.
So go ahead.
The next thing is to communicate. There's one thing we need to discover or realize this period is that people's ability to listen is way more now. People are paying more attention because the distraction is less. So I would advise that people capitalize on this time and reach out to people. Reach out to those you've been trying to discuss your business ideas with. Reach out to those customers you've been trying to talk into patronizing you. Reach out to those you had probably lost in the cost of rendering services. Reach out to them, because right now people are willing to listen. People are in a more solemn state. People are in a more composed environment and serene environment to pay attention to you. This is the time for you to drive that message across. This is the time for you to put that call across. So in the aspect of communication, make that call. Somebody is willing to listen right now. The distractions are less. Yes.
Right. Make that call. I'm going to be calling you, Oti. You need to start advertising. I'm coming. I'm starting with you. Make that call. IBEE, another nugget of wisdom, any?
Yes, whatever you know how to do, like your everyday things that you knew how to do, but you took for granted before now. Any skill,
Okay.
any skill, anything you know how to do, start exploring the opportunities of turning it into a product, an easily transferable product that can be sold. So we're not just going to be sticking on, this is my line of business, it is the only thing I know, I do not know any other thing. Start thinking of, I heard Dolly Parton is even reading bedtime stories online to children. Everyone is doing something. So think of something, just become innovative. Anything you know how to do, start thinking through it and thinking, can I turn this into a service or a need I can easily transfer, sell, or do online that will get me some money?
Awesome.
Is it that good voice? Is it the awesome moi moi? Is it whatever thing you know you are good at?
You haven't seen my stew. Look at me. I'm entering the kitchen right away, sending you some rice stew.
Auntie Bim, you'll be surprised. You will get orders by tomorrow.
Yeah, I say everybody, I listen to IBEE.
Yeah.
A latent skill. What is that skill you have? I love to cook, and I cook well. I love to make, and I bake well. Look at me, no? Sausage rolls.
People are still celebrating birthdays, even in isolation. They're buying birthday cakes for their children.
I'm going back into my kitchen, and I am cooking up a storm. So, guys, here it is. Audrey, what do you want me to cook? Anything and everything. I'm here for it. Oti, you were going to... Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
for hairdressers, okay, the last thing for hairdressers, a lot of hairdressers are doing classes to teach people how to do their hair themselves. And they're getting a lot of traffic. Ma?
But they're not paying for those classes. Can you imagine?
Yes, but they're not paying, but they're building traffic. And see, there's the post-COVID, though. There's the post-COVID. It will come to pass.
To those who were loyal to us during COVID.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Oti, you go.
Yeah, so I love the part where IB talked about businesses leveraging on each other, and I had mentioned it earlier. This is the time for businesses to leverage on those who have strength in the areas where they are weak and see how they can drive their market. But the other thing I want to talk about is it is also another opportunity for most of us entrepreneurs to diversify. But remember, I always talk about pre-COVID, now, and post-COVID. So pre-COVID, if you had saved and maybe your business is not, in the position or you don't
business.
Hello, ma.
Business is not a COVID-friendly business.
Yes, yeah, your business is not a COVID-friendly business. Exactly. It would be an opportunity for you to identify businesses that are COVID friendly and
Mhm.
maybe throw in some investment, and reap back. Take for instance, IB. She's running the farmer's business. It wouldn't be a bad idea for me to call her up after now and then throw in some cash and IB, see how you can double up this money for me.
I think
That's what.
that's a very
Yes,
great idea.
yes,
That
that's what
was my
business is.
next
So when
point.
you go into my head and steal my idea.
You
That
know,
was my next
so
point. That was my next point.
So, I told a friend, if you've been constantly receiving debit alert, it means somebody is receiving credit. Identify those that are being credited now
Oh
and
boy,
see how you can throw some cash and make
there
some
are
money this
ways.
period without you
Mhm.
exerting so much pressure or or stressing yourself. There are those who are doing fantastically well. The guys in the logistics as well. They are really overwhelmed. Reach out to one or two, ask them how you can invest. Maybe they can, purchase one bike and a carrier and then run it for you. That could also generate some money for you. Farmers as well, they are doing fantastically well this period. So identify businesses
Mm.
that are benefiting in this period that are
So
COVID
invest in
friendly and throw
existing
some cash in.
businesses. Super. I can
Super.
actually decide. Look at you. So if I'm a young man who's got this car, and rather than driving around Port Harcourt in the evening, just toasting my babe, I could
Yeah,
just generally use the car and do deliveries for IB.
of
Yes,
course.
please.
Of
And I
course,
just
yeah.
get
Yes.
more cash on the side, right?
Yes.
It takes care of my
Yes.
it takes care of my food. So I'm good. I'm in a good place.
Yes,
Wow.
yes,
Right
yes.
now schools are shut down, universities, nobody. So if I'm a cool guy on campus, and Uber
Mhm.
is not working, I can do deliveries. Wow. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. Well, friends, it's been an interesting 1 hour, and I'm telling you, I've learned so much. I hope you have learned a lot yourselves, because just listening to IB and OT has fired me up. By the way, OT, expect a template from Julia for your advertising.
Ah,
Absolutely. And then I
Auntie Julia
promise,
is my Auntie Julia is my mommy, oh. So anything she asks me to do, I
don't
know it
worry,
will be in the best interest of my business.
I'm coming to learn how to sew sleeves and pockets so that I can make the sleeves and pockets. It's been a great time, and I thank you for committing your 1 hour to this. Those who've listened to us, thank you very much. We're going to do this again. I'm going to be asking the Chamber of Commerce and Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, what's keeping them? What are
Yeah,
they asking government to do? They're supposed to be the influencers. And by the way, you both, if you're not members of those associations, you want to begin to think about it. Until I come your way again, this is Ibeen, Conversations with IB, and we're going to have a great time. That's me reinventing myself and doing what I love doing. Have a
yeah.
lovely afternoon.
Thank you. Bye.